Hi, this is Miss Burns. In this video, you will learn how to multiply positive and negative fractions. Let's begin by multiplying 3/4 times 8/5. In this case, we can multiply across our numerator, so we have 3 times 8 is 24, and then we can multiply across the denominator, and we have 4 times 5 is 20. We see that our numerator and denominator have a factor of 4 in common, so we can divide the numerator and denominator by 4. This is a foo, or a factor of 1, because we're doing the same thing to the numerator and denominator, so we're not changing the value of the fraction. So our numerator becomes 6, and our denominator becomes 5. In this case, the numbers weren't too big to work with, so we didn't mind simplifying at the end. However, sometimes we want to simplify before we get to the end. And this is called cross-simplifying, and we can do it when our numerator and our denominator have a factor in common. So since we know that 8 and 4 both have a factor of 4 in common, we can divide the numerator by 4 and replace the 8 with a 2. And we can divide the denominator by 4, replace the 4 with a 1. Now we're just multiplying 3 times 2, which is 6, and 1 times 5, which is 5. When we're using fractions with bigger numerators and bigger denominators, this makes the work much simpler. Now let's try multiplying fractions when we have negatives and positives involved. We multiply these the same way as we would with ordinary positive fractions, but we have to keep in mind what sign our product will be. If you want to try pausing the video right now and try these two problems, that would be a great idea. If not, or once you've done so, you can follow along with me. So first I have -2/5 and -3/8. So I know that I have a negative times a negative, so I'm going to get a positive product. So right away, I always label myself with a P so that I remember the sign. So I have 2 times 3 is 6, and 5 times 8 is 40. And we can simplify this because 2 goes into both 6 and 40. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So we get 3/20. If you want, you can think of this as -2 times -3, which also gives you +6. I could have also cross-simplified ahead of time and simplified my -2 to a -1 and my 8 to a 4, but I chose not to. In example 3, I have a negative times a positive, so I know that my answer will be negative. So right away, I'm going to write in my negative sign so that I don't forget at the end. A good strategy on a quiz or test is to go right to the answer sheet and write a negative symbol so you don't forget later. So now I can't cross-simplify because my numerator and denominator have no factors in common. So I have 1 times 7, which is 7, and 2 times 8, which is 16. So my answer is -7/16. Now try some on your own. Keep in mind that in one like the second example down, you could cross-simplify because you have a 3 and a 9 in your numerator and denominator, but you could also just simplify the fraction 6/9. Pause it, and when you're done, check your answers. Here are the answers. Notice that at the beginning, I labeled in green whether the answer would be positive or negative, just so I wouldn't make a mistake later on.